On this Sunday night, no deal. Hundreds of flights grounded as WestJet workers walk.
I have been stuck in this airport with no help,
leaving hundreds of thousands of travelers up in the air this long weekend. Firefight.
Wind is crazy.
The evacuations in BC and the state of emergency in Washington state. American attacks halted in Iran as Ukraine hits Russia where it hurts.
It's a hard thing to give away that kind of technology.
As the United States backtracks on a big promise. Rabies warning in Quebec, the outbreak in wild animals.
it wasn't letting go.
Coming dangerously close to humans. Plus, positive performance review.
They have feelings too.
The domestic study on the welfare of working dogs.
Global National. Reporting tonight, Sarah McDonald.
It's scary, but we got everything packed. We got our animals. We got, you got to keep calm and things like this. I know it's scary, but you have to keep calm so you can concentrate on things. Oh, you're here. Good. Yes. So now we're just going to check in.
The West Coast is in the grips of an unrelenting wildfire fight, with more than 40 evacuation orders and just as many alerts in place across BC tonight. More than 130 active fires are burning across the province, more than 30 of those igniting just this weekend. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. From British Columbia to Washington state, fast-moving wildfires burning with ferocity have forced thousands out of their homes this weekend. Strong winds had been in the forecast, but nowhere close to the strength of what actually materialized. The fire risk is escalating especially fast in the province's interior tonight. Jordan Armstrong has our top story.
Homes and vacation properties are destroyed, but right now, no one in any official capacity will guess how many. The Bradley Creek fire pushed north Saturday evening by sustained winds of 85 kilometers an hour.
It's come up here almost 10 kilometers since this morning.
What do you think of this wind? It's really come up.
The wind is crazy.
The inferno quintupling in size between 6 and 11 p.m. Saturday.
How close is it?
Less than a kilometer.
What are you doing?
Trying to save our homes so they don't burn down. So we're going to put water on the roof.
The emergency evolved so rapidly, Global News has learned some residents had to be rescued by boats on Okanagan Lake.
As that fire pushed downslope, unfortunately, towards the structures and the communities that are adjacent and on Okanagan Lake.
Evacuation orders were issued by the Okanagan Indian Band, Splatsin, the regional district of North Okanagan, and the township of Spalumcheen. The fire jumped Highway 97 at the north end of Okanagan Lake and grew overnight, and by Sunday morning was believed to be more than 2,600 hectares, or 26 square kilometers.
We got alerts on our phones, probably 4 or 5 times at least.
These neighbors who live on the east side of Okanagan Lake were sent to a reception center in nearby Vernon.
Did you see flames?
Oh, we could see flames, we could see smoke. There was a boat that came full bore from the other side of the lake and ran right up onto our beach. It was pretty chaotic for a while there.
What was the boat doing?
I guess he was escaping the fire.
The escape just the beginning of a living nightmare for hundreds of people. The coming days will bring grief once the scale of destruction becomes clear. Jordan Armstrong, Global News, Vancouver.
And across the border, parts of Washington state are also burning. Wildfires near Spokane have destroyed some 600 buildings and forced more than 5,000 residents to leave their homes. Washington's governor has declared a state of emergency. Further south in Oregon, crews are battling a blaze that scorched tens of thousands of hectares. That state is now on track for its worst wildfire season on record, and with no help from the weather this weekend, as the western United States continue to swelter under extreme heat. Parts of Arizona, California, and Nevada all recording temperatures well into the 40s today. And overseas in Europe, 2 helicopters have crashed into each other near Athens while fighting wildfires in Greece. 2 pilots in one aircraft died, while a pair of pilots in the other survived. The crash happened as hundreds of firefighters continue to battle out-of-control fires burning near the capital. Reinforcements from France and Romania have been called in to assist. The flames have so far burned more than 10,000 hectares of land and forced hundreds of people from their homes. There's a whole lot of angst at airports across the country today as hundreds of planned WestJet flights never got off the ground.
That's 2 flights that have cancelled in the last 2 days, and then not one person at the bloody checkout desk to even help you again. It's just a nightmare.
Even going through the phone, being on the phone for 7 hours, nobody answers, and not even online. So there is no way to fix anything.
Well, we don't know much right now. We're trying to get information, but we're trying to call, but it's full. We're trying to chat with someone online, but it's full.
Cabin crew on the country's second largest airline walking off the job last night. The airline says 250,000 passengers have been impacted and left in the lurch on one of the busiest travel weekends of the year. So many now scrambling to make alternate arrangements, but that is not easy either. Both sides are still at the table tonight, but for many travelers, the disruption has already thrown a major wrench in even the best laid plans this long weekend. Sean O'Shea reports.
WestJet flight attendants on the picket line just hours after going on strike.
Our bargaining committee worked until the strike deadline last night to try and get a deal with WestJet. Unfortunately, that wasn't able to happen.
Leaving passengers expecting to fly stuck.
And I have to go back to work. This is crazy.
This is very disheartening. I'm a worker as well, but it's just there had to be a better planning.
The union gave WestJet the required 3 days notice. This Nigerian actor has a live performance in Edmonton Monday without a way to get there.
So right now, as I'm standing here, my show is in jeopardy and my career is about to be fractured.
WestJet flight attendants are seeking what Air Canada colleagues went on strike to achieve last summer, to be paid for their time at airports in addition to the hours in flight.
Both sides have a lot of leverage, and they know that.
A year ago, the government ordered Air Canada's flight attendants back to work.
It's the economic dependence of this entire country on transportation because we are so large and so spread out.
As for stuck travelers, those with insurance are best off.
In this world we live in right now, you have to be prudent anytime you put out non-refundable dollars for any significant trip of any sort. You almost have to always back it up with cancellation and interruption insurance.
WestJet's obligated to rebook passengers on other carriers. This family's heading home to Regina.
After like a few chases, they finally gave me a ticket for tomorrow, confirmed ticket.
But for others,
nothing. This is not customer service because you can't strike and don't have nothing for your customers. That is impossible.
Federal Jobs Minister Patty Hajdu said it was disappointing the two sides hadn't reached an agreement. But just a few hours after the strike began, WestJet and the union were back at the bargaining table in Calgary under a media blackout. Sarah.
Sean O'Shea in Toronto. Thanks, Sean. In an 11th hour change of heart, U.S. President Donald Trump says he's holding off on another major attack on Iran. The pivot comes as allies in the Middle East press for a diplomatic resolution to the ongoing war. And Trump claims there's potential for progress when it comes to peace. Candice Cole, though, on another uncertainty that's now being raised over resources.
In a post to Truth Social late Saturday, U.S. President Donald Trump said he's canceled plans to attack Iran at the behest of Middle Eastern countries, including Iran, citing the parameters of a deal have been agreed to. He says the deal would see the immediate, complete, and total opening of the Strait of Hormuz and an end to Iran's nuclear threat. Trump's planned attack was in retaliation for Iranian strikes on U.S. bases in the region. According to reporting by Axios, Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman spoke with Trump earlier Saturday, urging de-escalation, fearing more attacks would widen the conflict to neighboring Gulf states, and asking for clarity on the U.S.'s plan of action, clarity that U.S. lawmakers are looking for as well.
The administration could be sharing more with Congress. I don't think anybody's satisfied with the level of information that we're receiving.
In recent days, as the U.S. resumed strikes on Iran following a 3-day pause in hostilities, advisors to Trump, including Vice President J.D. Vance and Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff General Dan Kane, reportedly raised concerns over dwindling U.S. munitions, particularly air defense missile interceptors. A claim Trump has denied is an issue.
This isn't rocket science. We struck over 14,000 targets with multiple munitions. That
puts a lot of stress on the magazine depth. So of course our commanders are starting to feel some stress on can they meet the need if they need to defend the homeland or our allies.
According to the Center for Strategic and International Studies, Patriot missile interceptors have gone from over 2,300 to under 827, and the number of THAAD interceptors have been cut nearly in half. Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi said to Turkish and Saudi Arabian foreign ministers Saturday that any hostile action by the U.S. or Israel would be met with a decisive and proportionate response. Sarah?
Candice Cole in Washington. Thanks, Candice. Palestinian health officials say a new round of Israeli strikes on Gaza have killed more than a dozen people. This apartment building in Gaza City was one of a number of targets hit overnight, killing 2 people and a child. The attacks come days after U.S. President Donald Trump hailed what he calls a breakthrough deal that could end the conflict. Israel says the strikes targeted Hamas operatives. Ukraine and Russia traded strikes overnight, with Kyiv hitting Russia where it hurts, its economy. Despite the deadly back and forth, as Vincent McAviney reports, the United States is steadfast on renewing peace talks.
Smoke rising from another strike on a Wildfires warehouse Sunday morning. Ukraine has attacked around a dozen sites belonging to Russia's equivalent of Amazon over the past 2 weeks. This one in Samara sits more than 500 miles from the front line, evidence of Kyiv's expanding campaign against economic targets. The attack comes on the heels of Ukraine facing sustained Russian bombardment for the past week. On Friday night, at least 9 people died and 23 were injured in strikes on residential buildings in Kyiv. President Zelensky said only 1 ballistic missile was intercepted, blaming a shortage of interceptor missiles for the Patriot air defense systems. Last week, the Ukrainian leader traveled to Washington for the memorial service of Senator Lindsey Graham, a key supporter in Congress and a crucial liaison with the Trump administration. The 2 presidents met in the Oval Office, with Ukraine hoping to secure licenses to produce the interceptor missiles themselves, offering anti-drone technology the US could use against Iran in return. Although President Trump signaled last month at the late Senator Graham's urging that Washington would grant those licenses, on Friday he backtracked.
We have not agreed to that. We're talking about it, but it's a hard thing to give away that kind of technology.
US Secretary of State Marco Rubio has signaled, however, that a year after the Alaska summit with Russia failed to produce peace talks, the administration will renew attempts.
You're going to see some efforts over the next few weeks to see if we can't restart talks between the 2 sides and bring this war to an end.
As investigators in Moscow try to determine whether a deadly restaurant bombing that killed 3 people on Saturday is linked to the war, ordinary Russians are finding that without peace talks, the impact on daily life and on the economy is continuing to escalate. Vincent McAviney, Global News, London.
Terrifying moments for staff and customers at an In-N-Out burger restaurant in Twin Falls, Idaho, after a shooting left at least 3 people dead and multiple others injured.
As I was running, I faced the shooter head on, and he pointed the gun at me, and I ducked behind a white car just to have some sort of coverage.
That's Jalen Sanchez, who narrowly escaped. She says she was ordering food when shots rang out. Among the dead is the suspect, who, according to authorities, also died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. In Quebec, officials are warning humans of a growing rabies risk.
It's a rabid raccoon! Get down!
Coming up, the deadly strain spilling over to a new species from raccoons. Plus, not just broken bones, doctors on the potential for lasting damage from just one wrong turn on a risky ride. Three people in Quebec are undergoing preventative treatment for rabies after all being attacked by a rabid cat. The province says it's the first confirmed case of raccoon rabies found in a cat, a variant of the virus thought to have been eliminated, but apparently now making a comeback. Mike Armstrong reports on the warning for humans.
It lunged from there.
onto my leg.
She is still having trouble believing what happened. Unloading flowers from her car 2 weeks ago, Mary Doyle was attacked by a stray cat. It jumped out of the brush and knocked her over.
I grabbed it by the back of the neck, and then it turned and latched into my hand here.
This was a fight, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it wasn't letting go.
Doyle eventually freed herself and called 911. The cat then mauled an ambulance technician. It was captured and tested positive for rabies. As it turned out, a few days earlier, it had attacked a boy down the road. All 3 are now being treated.
How many shots have you had so far?
Please God, yesterday was the last one, so that was 4.
Now, the rabies strain found in the cat is usually found in raccoons. That it spread to a cat is known as a spillover infection and shows just how widely the virus is circulating in raccoons.
The cases are increasing each week.
Ariane Massé is a biologist with Quebec's Environment Ministry. She says every mammal is susceptible to the raccoon variant if bitten, including humans, and getting treatment quickly is vital.
When the symptoms arrive, well, it's deadly in 100% of the chance.
A rabid raccoon tends to be disoriented, but they can also become aggressive. Well, it's a problem making a comeback. Rabies in raccoons had been wiped out in Quebec. There were no cases for close to a decade. Then came one single positive at the end of 2024, 93 last year, and already this year there have been 118 confirmed cases. Now, Quebec is urging the public to keep pets vaccinated against rabies and to be careful around wildlife. Ontario hasn't had any positives so far, but it will be dropping vaccine baits targeting raccoons in September. There are now outbreaks in Vermont, New York State, and Quebec. All 3 have aerial vaccine operations starting this month. Mike Armstrong, Global News, Montreal.
With e-scooters, we see more severe fractures.
Ahead, the startling scans and the traumatic injuries on the rise in young Canadians. Well, they're fun, quick, and convenient, but e-scooters can also be dangerous. Doctors warn that people underestimate the severity of injuries that riders can come up against in any type of collision, especially ones involving kids. Here's Catherine Ward with a look at some undeniable data from a children's hospital in Toronto.
Dr. Carolyn Rutten works the overnight shift at Sick Kids Hospital in Toronto. When she arrives at 8 p.m., there's a high likelihood interpreting scans from e-scooter injuries will be part of the job.
At this point in the summer, they're almost daily. Often these injuries actually happen late afternoon or early evening. We've been able to document that from these hits.
Fractures are common, like this elbow, which not only broke, but a section of the bone also rotated.
With e-scooters, we see more severe fractures. The fractures are often more severely displaced than they would be for playground trauma.
Traumatic brain injuries are another growing concern.
We can see these white areas here representing blood inside the brain. This blood is pushing against the brain and causing a lot of brain swelling. The amount of swelling was such that the neurosurgeons had to go in and take away a piece of the skull to relieve some of that pressure.
Surgeons say a straightforward recovery is not a guarantee.
We're talking about long initial surgeries. We're talking about repeated additional surgeries that are needed. We're talking about time in the intensive care unit. And the rehabilitation is not just in days, but we're talking about weeks to months.
At high speed, damaged internal organs are another possibility.
This is a CT of the abdomen in another teenager who came in after an e-scooter crash. This area here represents the liver, and this dark gray area represents a big tear within the liver. This is the kidney here, and we can see these dark areas here represent additional tears within the right kidney.
Doctors say they know scans like these ones will continue to be the norm until something is done to tackle the e-scooter problem at its core.
I think there has to be a much bigger push towards ensuring that people are aware of the threat and the danger that these pose, particularly to children.
Catherine Ward, Global News, Toronto.
And an alert for chocolate lovers tonight. A nationwide recall has been issued for some Hershey's Kisses, as they could contain traces of almonds. The recall covers the 104-gram and 200-gram packages of the creamy milk chocolate Kisses, with a best before date of June 1st, 2027. Hershey Canada says one reaction has so far been reported. Flipping the script next, the dogs helping humans and how it feels for them. We'll spend a few minutes with a four-legged friend, and it's hard for most humans not to understand how animals can be therapeutic. But what's it like for the animals themselves? That's the focus of a groundbreaking study out of the prairies that's digging into how dogs rate their own workplace satisfaction. Here's Peyton Zillich.
Oh, what a cutie. You're so cute.
Research has shown the many benefits people can gain while working with therapy dogs like Molly and Ophelia. But have you ever stopped to wonder what this work is like from the dog's perspective? Over at the Positive Connections Lab at the University of Saskatchewan, Dr. Colleen Dell is flipping the script.
Really recognizing who they are and what their likes and their wants and their needs are, and that they have feelings too.
The lab has been running for more than a decade, focusing on the power of connection between animals and humans. And a recent multi-million-dollar investment will let Dr. Dell continue her research on man's best friend.
Part of our larger grant is to begin to understand how it is that we account for the animal's perspective, right? So we have the dogs going out, say, to visit in hospice. How I need to be very in tune, as does any other therapy dog handler, of how I know if she's comfortable, if this is somewhere where she wants to be.
Along with Dr. Dell's studies, a part of the grant will go toward postdoctoral fellow Mackenzie McEwen's research project on how mental health can be improved for truck drivers with animal companions.
Truck drivers are constantly battling social isolation, mental health, physical health, and having that animal to provide them support with their mental, their physical health, and exploring how that benefits or those challenges are from the human's perspective, but also the animal's perspective, just to really figure out how we can work together.
Every dog is different, but it's clear Molly and Ophelia have a job they love, as both ladies roll over in excitement to comfort others via belly rubs.
As soon as the scarf comes out or as soon as I put the shirt on, she's so excited and wants to go wherever that we're going to go.
Peyton Zillich, Global News.
And that is Global National for this Sunday night. I'm Sarah McDonald. Tonight's Your Canada is Coldwater, Ontario. We love seeing your Canada. Please keep emailing your photos to globalnational@globalnews.ca. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you right back here again tomorrow. Have a great night.